All right, if you've ever walked a dog, you know the feeling, right? That constant pull, the strain on your arm, the frustration. Well, today we're going to get into exactly why your dog pulls on the leash, and I promise you, it is probably not for the reason you think.
I mean, does your daily walk sometimes feel less like a nice, relaxing stroll and more like a full-on battle you just weren't prepared for? What if I told you that a simple, science-backed shift in how you think about it could turn that tug-of-war into, well, into a peaceful walk? Let's get into it.
You know, leash pulling is one of the most common complaints vets and trainers hear, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. So let's peel back the layers and see what's really happening at the other end of that leash.
Okay, first things first, we have got to bust a huge myth that causes so much unnecessary frustration and, honestly, leads to some really ineffective training methods.
We've all heard this, right? The idea that your dog is pulling because they're trying to assert dominance, to be the alpha of the pack. It sounds traumatic, it sounds like it makes sense, but the actual science tells a completely different story.
So let's just say it loud and clear. That is a myth. Your dog is not pulling on the leash as part of some calculated power play. The real reasons are so much simpler, and frankly, they have nothing to do with you personally.
It actually helps to know where this whole alpha idea came from. It started with some flawed studies back in the 70s that looked at captive wolves. But think about it. They were unrelated animals, all thrown together in a stressful, artificial pen. Of course they fought. Modern science, looking at actual wild wolf packs, shows a totally different picture. They're family units, parents and their offspring, and they cooperate to survive.
So, taking that old, debunked theory about stressed-out captive wolves and applying it to our pet dogs, it's just a huge scientific mistake. Our dogs have been our partners for thousands of years. Trust me, they're not plotting to take over your house. They're just really, really excited to go smell that fire hydrant.
Okay, so if it's not some big power struggle, what is actually going on? Well, science gives us three really clear reasons.
First, and this is super simple, their natural walking or trotting pace is just way faster than our casual stroll. Second, and this one is a real game changer, is something called the opposition reflex. And third, let's be honest, it's a learned behavior because it works. For years, pulling has gotten them exactly where they want to go.
Let's just focus on this opposition reflex for a second, because understanding this changes everything. This is not a choice. It's not defiance. It is a physical, hardwired, involuntary reaction. When you pull back on that leash, you are physically triggering your dog's instinct to pull forward into that pressure. So without even realizing it, you're actually fueling the exact behavior you're trying to stop.
So, now that we get the why, we can finally build a new game plan that actually works. And it all starts with having the right tools and, more importantly, the right mindset.
The equipment you choose says a lot about your approach. Tools like prong collars or choke chains, they're based on that old faulty dominance myth. They work by causing pain to stop a behavior. The risk there is not just neck injury, but creating fear or even aggression. A front clip harness, though, is a tool for communication. It doesn't hurt them. When they pull, it just gently redirects their forward momentum, turning them back toward you. See the difference? It's about teaching, not punishing.
And that's the whole philosophy right there. The goal is super simple. We just need to teach our dogs that pulling is no longer an effective way to get what they want. We're going to break that connection in their brain, but we're going to do it humanely.
And here is the simplest, most powerful way to do that. It's often called the be a tree method. It's so easy. The second you feel that leash get tight, you just stop. Dead in your tracks. Plant your feet, become a tree. Then you wait, silently. The moment your dog creates even a tiny bit of slack, maybe they look back, maybe they just shift their weight, you mark that with an excited, yes, and immediately start walking again.
What this does is it brilliantly teaches your dog a new rule. A tight leash is a red light. All the fun stops. But a loose leash? That's a green light, and the walk continues. They quickly learn that it's their own choice to release that tension that makes the good stuff happen again. You're putting them in control of the outcome, and that is so powerful for learning. When you put this all together, the right understanding, the right tools, and the right method, you can literally transform your walk from a constant conflict into a moment of true cooperation.
And remember this, that leash is like a telephone line. It sends your state of mind directly to your dog. If you're gripping it tightly, all stressed out anticipating the pull, you're sending tension down that line before you've even taken a step. A relaxed grip, A calm mind, that's fundamental. You have to be the source of calm you want your dog to feel.
And this is what success looks like. Your visual goal is to see a leash with a nice visible dip in it, like a J or a U shape. That little bit of slack is the physical proof that there is zero tension between you two. It is a beautiful symbol of a relaxed and cooperative walk.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about on your next walk. When you pick up that leash, are you getting ready to control an opponent, or are you getting ready to connect with a partner? Because shifting that mindset, well, that's the first and maybe the most important step towards a lifetime of really happy walks together.